All right, welcome everybody to episode 19 of the Family Table Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Casto, and I've got with me Caleb Halstead.
Good afternoon, morning, whatever time it is that our listeners may be listening. I don't know what to say. So, just say a good day to them.
Yeah, even if you're aliens watching this 400 years from now,
hey,
welcome.
That's it.
We were expecting you.
Yeah.
So, Caleb, I woke up this morning with what do you call this?
Like a crick in your neck?
Yeah, like a crick in my neck.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm
a stiff-necked and wicked generation.
Yeah, my God. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, Lord, I thought I was living right. I'm in the righteousness of God. No, but I woke up this morning with interesting. So if you see me kind of doing this and like I'm moving my whole body, it's because I'm trying not to.
Well, you're trying to move your whole body to not stretch your neck out.
Exactly, because it hurts.
Yeah.
It really hurts. So right now, I need for you to just release healing my way, and greatly appreciate it. But Caleb insisted we podcast through the pain, and he said,
"I'm just going to throw things to your left side and try to make you like scared to look real fast."
I've got great peripheral vision, so
okay.
So, anyways, no, but we're really glad that you're here today, and the podcast has been amazing, man. I mean, emails that we started getting in, and people watching, and maybe you're just watching this for the first time through Destiny Image Podcast Network, or maybe you found this through our YouTube channel. However you found yourself to this podcast, we're excited that you're here. I want to say a couple things. If you're listening to this by way of podcast, whatever your podcast platform is, make sure you subscribe and make sure you leave a review. That's big for us. That's how you really get the word out about your podcast, is by doing a review of the podcast. So we'd love to hear from you in that. Also, if you're watching this by way of YouTube, go ahead and click the bell, do all the YouTube stuff, all the YouTube stuff, subscribe, click the bell. That way you can be notified when we have a new episode. But before we jump into what we're going to talk about today, Caleb, I want to remind people since 2020, I've been uploading e-courses and taking people through my courses on Teachable. But we have now found a new resource with some new technology that we're actually using now, where we're actually going to take all of my e-courses, whether it's Liar, Exposing Myths and Spiritual Warfare, Resting in God Amid a Chaotic World, Carriers of His Presence, all those e-courses plus new weekly teaching, we're going to start uploading in a new resource that we've made available called Long Path Learning Community. It's already live. You can go sign up now. It's $15 a month. Or if you sign up for the year subscription, it's $120. You'll save $60 by doing the annual subscription. So we'd love for you to be a part of it. We've got people signing up already, people jumping into the comments, people communicating, connecting. It's been awesome. And then we upload brand new teaching each week. And so I've been focused on teaching on prayer. And so I just uploaded a teaching in there called Simple Prayer. And that's something that none of us graduate from. So I really think it's going to be helpful for you those of you that want to learn and grow in prayer, especially as it relates to how the finished work, how it impacts the subject of prayer. So, man, I really want you to go join that community. It's going to be a fun time, and that library is just going to continue to grow each and every week. And one of the things that I wanted to do is, so many people are going off to Bible college, so many people are going off to college, period, because they want to learn and they want to grow, but there's astronomical prices to do that. You can get really sound biblical teaching through Long Path Learning Community and without the crazy price. So we're happy to make that resource available to you, and we're looking forward to it. So, hey, I can actually turn my neck this way really good. So
it works.
So we'll just keep doing this.
Do the cuts.
Little touch and go. But if the cameras were this way, I'd be like,
we'd be in a mess if they were on your left side. That's right. That's right.
Oh, man. Oh, this is great. Yeah. So anyways, Caleb, you actually preached at the Shepherd's Tent on this past Sunday. So this would be a couple weeks now by the time people see this
by the time the podcast goes out. Yeah.
But I really felt like the Lord told me that it was time for you to share. I've been really from the Lord feeling just this strong weight and conviction to teach our family about true koinonia and walking together in fellowship. And I recently gave a word to our house that I felt like we were in this crossing over moment, like Joshua, and the Lord was like, it's time to be strong, courageous, get joined. We're going to the other side. And it was so important to be joined and connected, because on the other side is where Joshua begins to distribute to those who are joined their inheritance.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is an hour where you need to get joined. Like I feel like this is prophetic to our house, but I feel like it's prophetic in general to like the body of Christ. This is an hour where you need to get joined to your people.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you need to move.
Yeah.
If you need to make adjustments to your schedule, make adjustments to your schedule. Whatever you need to do to rearrange your world to be joined in this moment, you need to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just joining a church. I'm talking about being joined relationally to people, because the Lord is taking the body of Christ and we're crossing over into some promises. And on the other side of crossing over, inheritance gets distributed, and only those who are strong and only those who are courageous, which is a grace that's given by the Lord, those who are willing to take the risk are the ones who get the inheritance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I've been in this really strong like teaching about like living unoffendable, which you definitely touched on again, and you just reinforced some of those things, and living in this place where there's no comparison, and living in this place where you truly enjoy being joined, and you find yourself in such beloved identity that you come out of all those things that keeps you isolated. You come out of the insecurities, you come out of the spirit of comparison, you come out of competition, and you really allow Abba's love to transform you, where you're able to receive love and give love. And that, in a sense, is the koinonia expression. Love, it's giving love, receiving love. And so anyways, that's where I've been. And I felt like you came in and you just did a really great job of reinforcing that, plus adding some things to it. And I felt like it was something that we should talk about in the podcast today. So man, I'd love for you to just catch the family table audience up on some of the things that you're feeling or sensing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that was one of the things that you had talked about. You just mentioned, living unoffendable. And one of the things that I had said on Sunday was, I really believe that it's part of my role. One of the things that I'm most responsible for is stewarding what you have already said, and maybe just stirring it a little deeper, with what we have coming out of Mobile from Apostle Damon. I mean, you're taking words from him and just continuing to expand on that, and even making it applicable, I think, locally here in Covington, and that's a really big deal. What Apostle is putting out most often is so large scale, and it's phenomenal. I mean, it's absolutely necessary, but it's also necessary to make sure that we are receiving and I don't know that inheriting is a great word, but really just sort of receiving and implementing what is being taught on a local level, and then I think part of my role is to really make sure that, as I'm watching you sort of distribute for Covington, I want to make sure that all the sons and the daughters of the house, who are either sons and daughters of you and Mama Des, or are spiritual sons and daughters of some of your spiritual sons and daughters, I really want to take a moment and just kind of speak to them and say, hey, let's just make sure everybody's on the same page here, and it's been really cool, especially over the last few weeks, as you have talked a lot about the big deal that it is to inherit this new blueprint, because of but to remember that we have a lot of people moving here from across the country, and that's not a world that I'm from. I didn't grow up where people would move states, move even across the country. Like I've said that twice now, moving across the country, because we've had that happen here, but I didn't grow up with something like that. And that's very new to me. But to realize that there are people who are like myself, hearing that frequency and saying, man, I got to be a part of this. Like, I want to key into what's going on here in Covington, because I sense that same frequency vibrating in me, and just watching people literally uproot their lives. We had a family just move recently from Pennsylvania, right? We had another girl move in from where's Danielle, from Michigan. And so, I mean, like, I grew up in a scenario where we struggled to get people to drive from across town,
right.
And now we've got people leaving the states that they grew up in and moving down here to Georgia. And so in all of that, with you talking so much about being unoffendable, I thought it was very necessary for us as a family. And one of the things I wanted to talk about here on this episode was just making sure that there's time to understand, okay, what does it look like to be unoffendable? Because it's really easy to talk about that stuff. And it's really easy to say, okay, all right, love everybody. We're all on the same page here. We're all walking this together. And as relationships form and get deeper and you let people into your life, it naturally happens that you let them into a certain degree that they can then hurt you, you know? And I think in a family like this, most times, definitely more often than not, that hurt is unintentional. It's not something that anybody's trying to lash out at, and we have not had those kind of issues where people are just trying to really like hurt anyone. But we do. I mean, when you meld lives together, like it's gonna happen, And we talked on Sunday about, that can be anything from, don't tell me how to raise my kids, or don't try to correct my kids, to, don't move here, don't live in this area of town, or don't take this job, right? Or it could just be something simple like I didn't text them back fast enough,
right.
or we didn't invite them over for dinner, or they didn't invite us over for dinner to spend time with them, or they had a get together and they invited families A, B, and C, but they didn't invite my family.
Oh man, we've dealt with that stuff over the years. Like I remember. Luckily, this only happened one time, but I remember this family coming and they emailed after Sunday as soon as they got finished. It was like an hour after church.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we really enjoyed the service, but the pastor didn't come shake our hands or greet us.
Sure.
And it's like, it's like, okay, well, did you see 100 people gathered around, fellowship and talking, me shaking hands with people, talking with them? And like, if you really wanted to meet me, like the Bible says, if you want friends, show yourself friendly.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not the pastor that stands in the back at the door and shakes everybody's hand as they go out. Like I'm there, I'm in the midst, I'm approachable. You can come talk to me, but like, I'm not like I'm not trying to be the politician, where I'm like, I got to get in a certain position. I got to shake everybody's hand. I've got to pat little babies on the head. Like, I love people. I'm in the middle, but I'm saying it's funny how people have these unrealistic or even cultural expectations that get brought into this, and they get offended really quickly. And that's what we're talking about today, is like the fact that when people start moving from different places, when they start coming from different backgrounds, like we've got people that were raised Catholic, we got some people that were not raised in church, we got some people that were raised Presbyterian, we got some they come from all these different backgrounds. Well, they have cultural expectations, they have church cultural expectations,
absolutely,
they have parental expectations, and like, this is how I raise my kids. So they think everybody raises their kids the same way.
Right now.
And it's like, when all of those different pieces come together, you're naturally going to bump up against those things. And like, that's not even like foreign to the early church. Like in the scripture, you see, I love the day of Pentecost because we all talk about the power, but immediately after they had this powerful encounter, they all became family. Yet the conversations were not over. I mean, you're going to find that they had disagreements. Peter and Paul, like Paul and Peter have a argument where Paul's like, Peter, you're jacked up. Like, you're doing this wrong. You chill out. You're a hypocrite. You acted this way when all the Gentiles were here. And then when these Jews showed up, you started acting like them.
100%.
And there was a full on, I confronted him to his face in front of everybody. So like, this is not foreign to the early church, but it's important to talk about, because where we're going to learn to be like Christ and where we're going to learn how to love like Christ, it's going to happen in the koinonia expression.
Absolutely. And we made a really big deal about that on Sunday, just from the perspective of, Jesus said that they will know you are my disciples by the love that you have one for another.
Right.
Never did Jesus give the command of reaching the lost by loving the lost. I think that's understood. And it is important to love your neighbor as you love yourself. I mean, that's the second greatest commandment, right? But Jesus notably said, they will know that you are mine. They will know that you're glued into what I'm distributing by the love you have one for another. And I think that paints a picture in the church today that, man, we should raise our honor so high that we, like you said, we do become unoffendable, And when those instances occur, because they will occur, when those instances occur where you do get upset, right? Where you compare situations and say, they did this for this family, they didn't do that for me. I don't like how they, responded to me or walked by me and hugged the person next to, whatever it might be, right? I mean, you make up the scenario. When those situations happen, it's massively important to understand your beloved identity, right? Understand that Yahweh loves you no matter what, right? And there's no performance based on making sure that you've earned Yahweh's love, right? So you're sitting on that seat of beloved identity. Then you remember you're committed to them on this long path journey of family. They've committed to you, especially being, like I said, I was talking to sons and daughters of the house, right? They've committed to you by committing to this family. So we're all on this long path together. And so if we're all moving in the same direction, American culture has the phrase, well, I can love them, but I don't have to like them. No, not here. Not in this family. That does not work,
Right.
And one of the things we said on Sunday was the first two things that love is patient and kind. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, Paul lays it out plain as day. Love is patient, love is kind. And so if that's the case, you don't have the right or the authority or the permission to say, I'm just gonna hang back. I'm not going to mess with them. They don't have to mess with me. And we'll just sort of coexist and we don't have to be friends. Nah, man, not if we're in this together, because you've said it over and over and over and over again. You don't know what your yes will unlock in other people.
Right.
And there may come a place where the enemy has caused distraction. The enemy has caused offense to well up between you and another person, largely because your yes is going to unlock something in them, right, or the other way around.
Right.
And if you don't get past that offense, if you don't act like a grown adult, take some serious responsibility and recognize, no, you can work this out because they're grown adults too. I'm not talking about children. I'm not really even talking about young teenagers, although that can 100% happen. But I am talking to the moms and dads. I am talking to those people who are 18 and up, 21 and up, right? It's like, okay, now it's time. But the people who can spit the nastiest, they're my age. I'm 34. You watch people in their 30s and 40s act like high school seniors. And you're just like, are you serious right now? This is how you want to be? This is how you want to act? No, not in family, And I think in that comes also the understanding of, like, if there's something between you and another person, Jesus said in Matthew 18, you go to them. What Jesus didn't say was, so I'll use you an example, right? Because you serving as a spiritual father for me as my spiritual father. Mm-hmm. If I have a problem with John, whoever John is, right? I don't get to go to Mark and say, Mark, we've got an issue. I need you to solve it for us.
Right,
I need you to talk to John for me. No, that's not how this works.
Nope.
That's not how this works. Jesus said, you go to him. Now, if you go to him and they've caused issues and they don't want to change, then I can bring a spiritual father in.
Yeah, right.
But if you go to them and something happens, bro, you guys figure it out, you settle it, it's done.
Yeah.
I don't need to drag you into this.
Family.
And what never, ever, ever, ever needs to happen is for John to offend me. And I go to, I don't know who, Eric. I don't know an Eric. There's not an Eric in our family. No. So Eric is a made up name. And I go to Eric and I say, Eric, you won't believe what John did. If Eric's not a part of the solution, Eric don't need to know.
Exactly.
That's called gossip.
Yeah.
Right. And man, you want to see some negative, bad, nasty things happen real fast. You start gossiping. Yeah. You watch the dissension crawl. And then what's going to happen is a spiritual father like yourself is going to come in and correct the issue, because your role is to protect the family. And if that happens, a spiritual father is going to come in like Mama Bear, and it's not going to be good for any party involved. We can avoid all of that by acting like adults and saying, hey, this is the direction we need to go. So that's koinonia.
Yeah.
That's part of family. You're working it out.
And that sounds so foreign to some people that are watching the podcast because they've never experienced a true church operating under spiritual authority.
Yeah.
They have pastors who have titles, but they don't want to upset the apple cart. They don't want to rock the boat because they want everybody to come to church. And at the end of the day, that's where Jezebel lives. That's where all the demonic stuff happens: envy, jealousy, strife, the works of the flesh. They happen in a church that's absent of spiritual authority. And what happens is when you actually get into a true koinonia expression, we don't put up with that stuff. And like Jezebel can't breathe here. We don't give her the attention she wants, so she don't live here.
Yeah.
And we shut things down when there's rebellion. We shut it down because we care about the image of God. And we care about the union of the saints.
Yes.
We care about both of those because the unity of our community, our union is based on our relationship with Jesus. So if somebody's acting outside of the character of Christ, that's where fathers and mothers step in and say, in the kingdom, we don't act like this.
No.
In the kingdom, we handle it like this. And when things are out of order, that's where fathers and mothers step in and they go, hey, this is not the way we do things. This is how and we work for reconciliation. We work for restoration. So spiritual authority is not in your life. I said this before in a message I recently preached at a regional gathering, but I said spiritual authority is not in your life to expose you.
No.
They're in your life to reveal you. So if exposure happens, it's not because we're trying to make you look bad.
No.
It's a revealing. It's going after those things in your life so that the greatness of who Jesus is on the inside of you can come out.
Absolutely. It propels you.
It's discipleship. It's spiritual formation. It's spiritual leaders being involved in your life to help you be conformed into the image of Jesus. And people, a lot of times, again, this might be foreign for some, but also there's a lot of people watching this that they say they want it. And then when correction comes or when they get into that, then they reject it.
Yeah.
So
you find out real quick.
So I think maybe it'd be a good idea on the next podcast, Caleb, for us to talk about that, like dealing with correction, dealing with confrontation, dealing with these issues that pop up in koinonia. Because again, most people that would be watching this, you probably go to church with people you're barely connected with.
Yep.
You probably have sat under a pastor who the only authority he has in your life is from the pulpit. And that is changing. The wineskin of the church is going back to the apostolic blueprint of relational Christianity, fathers and mothers, brothers and sisters doing life together. And this whole hiding out in the church and I love you, but I don't have to like you. All that stuff's
not false.
That's all stuff we learned in systemic religion.
Yeah.
It's not the gospel. It's not the character of Christ. And God is raising up koinonia expressions to bring about those corrections. Why? Because he's returning us back to original intent.
Absolutely.
And he's exposing the image of Jesus in our community.
The blueprints are here, man. It's time to act on them.
They are. And it's the spirit of wisdom.
Yes.
Because what does wisdom do? Wisdom takes the knowledge that you have, the understanding of what you have, and it tells you what to do with what you have. And so the spirit of wisdom comes into a generation like it is right now. This has been the word to me since 2020. Mark, partner with the spirit of wisdom for a brand new blueprint for your life. Okay. Yep. Well, wisdom is so important because wisdom is being able to take the knowledge that you have and the understanding that you have and actually implement it to do it. And so the spirit of wisdom saying, I'm not going to let you play church anymore. Spirit of wisdom says, I'm not going to let you live in offense anymore because I'm going to actually teach you how to walk this stuff out.
Right.
So I know this is kind of a quick podcast, but thank God we got more episodes that we can record. But I really appreciate you guys jumping on here today. And this is an important conversation that we're going to continue to have. So make sure you join us for episode 20. And in between that, please sign up for the Long Path Learning community. You're going to love it. We're having fun in there. People are connecting. People are signing up. And there's over 50 hours right now of teaching already available that you can jump into. Everything from spiritual warfare to learning to rest in the finished work. It's all in there. So jump in there, be a part of the community, learn and grow. Don't go pay thousands of dollars for you to go to Bible college to get you a fake degree. Just jump in here, man, and learn and be discipled and get good gospel teaching. It'll revolutionize your life. So thank you, Caleb, for today. And looking forward to jumping into another podcast so we talk about doing life in koinonia. All right. Well, guys, God bless you. Thank you for joining us today. And I'm praying by the next time we record, I'll be able to be mobile again with my neck. Thank you guys for coming, and we'll catch you on the next episode. I want to take a moment and say thank you for listening to this episode from the Family Table. If this podcast was at all helpful to you, please tell your friends and family about it. Leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. And I want to invite you to connect with me on Instagram at @MarkCasto_. Again, that's at MarkCasto_. And I look forward to connecting with you soon on the next episode of the Family Table podcast. May His peace rest upon you.